Hello, welcome to the weekly poster roundup for the week of the 5th of August. A lot of great posters to share with you guys, so let's get cracking real quick. Alan at Night is the first one. Clearly a horror comedy, and that is evident from his briefs that you can see over there. I think this is a really fun poster. It really plays onto the horror themes really well with the red text, the glowing yellow eyes are obviously very creepy. This reminds me a lot of Shaun of the Dead, not of the poster, but of the feel of the movie. I like how he's just sort of stood between the knight and the Alan, as you can see how that text just is covered up by his face there. Very humorous, it's got a really great twist to it. Can't say that I've seen a poster quite like it before. So, I don't know, I think it's like a high B or a low A. Like, I really like this poster. I'm going to put it in A for now. Alien Romulus. Another really cool poster for this movie. I've already reviewed one that I really liked, and this one plays on the horror genre so well. You can see that there's these figures here that are kind of creepy, but they're not so evident. They're quite subtle because they're deep in the shadows. What we see here is a beautifully framed poster here with a lot of negative space. I really like how it's lit. She's very much shadowed. It's mostly a silhouette that you see of her, and most of the lighting is in the back, but that's fine. I think that adds to the mystery, that adds to the intrigue of the poster. I think the Alan at Night poster is just a little more creative, so I think I'm going to put that higher. But I think as far as like an aesthetic thing is concerned, this one is a bit more aesthetic. So that's the distinction between the two. Blink Twice. It's very text heavy, and I think that that's sort of the vibe. The entire poster is almost framed by the text, and we get this one really intriguing image in the center. She's doing that Get Out thing where she's sort of like got a still face, but you can see that she's got a tear going down. As far as like text heavy posters are concerned, I think that this is like a masterclass on how to do that kind of thing. It's kind of beautiful, actually. I'm gonna pop that up in the S tier because I think it deserves it. Dìdi, another Dìdi poster. We've already gotten one Dìdi poster. So we see a lot of posters where it's just characters posing in front of the camera, but here it almost has a different take on that. Like they're posing in front of the camera, but it's almost not like they're posing for a poster or to a camera. It's almost as if they were looking into a mirror or something like that. They're reacting to something, and they're all kind of just looking past us. This poster tells me that it feels like a very natural film, that it's like very naturalistic. This also gives me a lot of nostalgic vibes with sort of the green shading of the entire poster. Even the way that they're lit is sort of all in cool colors. And I've already talked about the logo in the last poster. I like the logo a lot, so they've reused it for all the posters for this movie. The only white text that we have here is the movie of the summer. Like, that's okay. Maybe it calls a bit too much attention to this review. That's like a very small nitpick. I think that that's an A as well. Okay, then we get this other Dìdi poster. And I think of the three Dìdi posters that I've reviewed, this one is my least favorite. I feel like this one's the most sort of generic. Even if we're comparing the two, the Dìdi stands out a lot more. This looks like it's going less for the nostalgia that this one does and like the naturalism. This one just does seem like a lot of, I don't know, rom-com posters where we get two characters kind of talking to each other and looking at each other. I feel like that's a bit of a cliche. Kind of reminds me of Past Lives poster from last year. So, nothing wrong with it. I think that it's a nice photo. I think I'm going to go below Alien. Okay, The Good Half. This doesn't seem like a movie that I would want to watch. I would rather watch Dìdi than this, but I think that I actually like this poster more. And specifically because of the lettering, we have the tagline here that's very subtle, very small, just above the credits. I don't know how many times I've seen that, but that's really kind of classily done. And in fact, the credits are sort of sandwiched by these two white texts. But I think mostly we get this frame here. Normally we get something that's framed, and that would mean that beyond the frame everything's in black. But this frame only sort of frames the image, but the image still exists outside of the frame. And I like how the frame interacts with the text. As you can see here in the F of The Good Half, it just cuts off the F really nicely. I think that as far as lettering is concerned, this is like a really unique way to title your movie with a title that's actually rotated, so it's a little harder to read. So I can see why it's not used as often because it's not quite as commercial. But I think as an artistic choice, it's really cool. The photo in the background, I think it's like very, it's very pretty. It's very nicely lit, and you get sort of those pink highlights on his face that sort of complement the pink lettering. Also, the fact that they don't mind covering some of Nick Jonas's face with the title of the movie. I think this is really, really well executed. They did something really cool with the lettering here, and I think that it's worth the A for sure. Yeah, another sort of generic action movie poster. What can I say that I like? I think the one thing that I find particularly interesting or unique about this poster is sort of these dark blue gray colors mixed with the red. I think that that's pretty nice, and that is then reflected on the title. Yeah, that's kind of my only real compliment. The rest of it, I feel like I've seen before. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a total eyesore. It's not completely inept. I would put that as a C. Look into my eyes. As far as the image is concerned, like it's like a provoking image. Like I could see this working really well for a poster. It kind of looks more like a book cover, but the way that they've then used that painting and then put text on top of it to create a film poster, it's a little bit lame the way that they ended up doing it. So, but the painting's nice, as far as that's concerned, like that's still a big part of the poster. Not terrible, but no, I feel like it could have used a lot of polish. I think that that's definitely between these two. I think I prefer it to Hounds of War because it's a little less generic, but I feel like Hounds of War might even be a bit better executed. Okay, Moana 2. So I talked last week about how I don't really love the way that they make 3D animated posters. And this is just, I don't know. It's just the characters, writing. There's nothing interesting about the lighting. There's nothing really that interesting. Like the water looks really beautiful. And we get the nice clouds in the background. I feel like it's good animation. Yeah, I just don't really have that much to say about the poster design. I feel like they just were like, hey, put our characters in like an interesting, fun position. We'll put some text at the bottom of it and we'll call it a day. I don't know. I think that this is probably a C as well because it's not ugly. It's just kind of meh. Okay, we get the Mufasa poster. It's worthy of praise to have these sort of like dull colors on like kind of like a kid's movie. I feel like I gotta respect that they went with like this pale brown color scheme for the whole thing, and that's like pretty cool. They have this nice little reflection element here, which I think is taken from the original movie. One thing I don't understand is this tagline: "Prince, brother, villain." I'm assuming that's regarding Scar, right? Because it's, he's a prince. Scar's a prince, right? Because the other one's the king. So he's the brother, so he's the prince, so he's the brother, and he's the villain. But this movie's about Mufasa. Mufasa's the king, So I don't really understand that. I know that has nothing to do with poster design, but it does create confusion, especially for such a known property as Lion King. I feel like that tagline could have used a little work. I feel like it's like a high C. I'm going to put it between these two. Okay, so this is Steven Soderbergh's poster. It's a cool concept. It's basically just a list of Soderbergh's old films. We have the title of this upcoming movie here in the center. It's in a larger text. And all of this is in front of like a blurred image of a woman's face. That's like, I don't know. I think that this is pretty cool. It's pretty subtle. It's a unique concept, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know. They're just like kind of resting their laurels on the fact that Steven Soderbergh's made other good movies, so therefore this movie's got to be good. Whereas this poster doesn't really tell me much about this movie specifically. I guess maybe that's the point, that it's like a teaser. It's a good poster. I don't know if I love it, though. Magic Mike, does that like really tell me anything about this movie? If anything, Magic Mike's going to make me think it's another movie entirely. They're kind of desperately trying to get me to remember who Steven Soderbergh is. I feel like Steven Soderbergh's such a famous name that anybody should already know who he is. So maybe it's just because I'm a nerd, so I know who Steven Soderbergh is. I think it's still a B. I might even go ahead and put it like above Dìdi. I'm going to put it there. Interesting concept. pretty well executed, like that's fine, but originality of concept doesn't mean I necessarily have to love the concept. So okay, Rebel Bridge. Now, if we're comparing this to Hounds of War, it's a much more intriguing action movie poster. I mean, to be fair, I don't really know if it is an action movie. All I see is like a guy holding a shotgun. I really like the color scheme here. Everything's sort of like this kind of light pale blue, and then all the text is in like a darker blue. I really like how this is laid out. I feel like, leaving all this overhead space is pretty aesthetically pleasing, and I just really like how the silhouetted figure, we can see the shape here, we see the triangle in the middle, like the way that his silhouette sort of shapes the poster. I think that this is really nice. I feel like it's definitely close to Alan at Night. I think Alan at Night is just a little bit more creative, so maybe I'll pop it there above Alien Covenant. Okay, another really cool poster. Right off the bat, I really like how these credits are sort of placed, how they get like kind of thicker and bolder as they go lower, and that ends up making like a really, really cool shape. It almost feels like a gradient, even though technically the colors are all remaining the same. So that's really awesome. And then we get this central image here. We get all this overhead space, which is so pretty because they have all these really nice clouds. I really like just the way that this basketball board sort of almost blends in with the clouds behind it. It's like a really beautiful poster, I think. And then we have our text aligned to the left here. Let's go ahead and put that in A. Another really, really cool poster, and another really, really text-heavy poster as well. We get all of this text presenting us with the title. I think the one thing is that all the text is sort of read, from left to right. Almodovar, El Deseo presents a film by. But then the names of the actresses are read top to bottom. And that's just a little confusing. But other than that, this is a really cool poster. We get all of this negative space that's just consumed by text. We get this beautiful sort of shape created by their faces here. One, higher than the other. And I feel like that just creates such a beautiful, beautiful poster. I could see this really being put up on walls, and it's just like it's just a gorgeous design that's really text heavy. You don't normally see so much text on a poster, and it works so well. Like, compare this to the Steven Soderbergh one, and this one's just way more interesting. It's just more intriguing, and I love the colors. Their faces are basically like almost the color of the background, because that's sort of like a skin tone in the background, but because they're made up, their lips and their cheeks are accentuated even more so. So really beautiful poster. Really like this one. This is like an S, I think. Okay, another very text-heavy poster. From what I understand, there's an R-rated version of this poster, so I've decided to show this one for you guys, but if you want to see the R-rated version, it's just inebriated is like changed to wasted or something like that. I think the F word's thrown on there. It's cool because it tells you the concept immediately, right? October 11th, 1975, 10 p.m., riders are inebriated, the set is on fire, the sound system's wrecked, the actors are physically assaulting each other, crew is in open revolt. They have 90 minutes to figure it all out, or the network is pulling the plug. It's basically like the log line of the movie. We get like these cast members here in the background. These photos look old-timey. They look like they're printed and then scanned. And I think that that's just a really cool concept for like the background element of the poster. I'm gonna have to put that in A, and looking at these, I think I'm going to do a little bit of shifting around, so if you'll excuse me. I think maybe Alan at Night, thinking about it, I like it more than these down here. I'm going to pop Rez Ball down there. I'm going to pop that there. Pop that there. I think that I'm a bit happier with that. Sometimes I end up watching my videos after I finish editing them and thinking, man, I put that in like S or A. Okay, another awesome poster here. So it's called Skincare. We get the name of the actress right above it. It's just a little cover up, just slightly smaller. Like, all the text is so small on this. It's just a beautiful contrast to the giant, like the extreme close up of Elizabeth Banks' face. And we get all this detail of her eyes, her makeup. It's just a gorgeous photo in everything else that's kind of more sort of warmer tones. Her blue eye just really sticks out. And I just love how all this text here is just so small, as if it were a blemish on Elizabeth Banks's skin that she's trying to clean off. Even the font of her name is just so cool. It's got these little like square angles. You see how the T is only half a T, but the rest of the T is filled out in the H. I just really love that font. This is such a beautiful poster. Man, this is the winner, I think. I'm really liking those those S tier. Those are 3 really great posters. Okay, so we get this Snow White poster. Everything's just looks just so shiny and so, I don't know, whitewashed. Ironically so. There's nothing particularly creative about this. Do I want to put this in D? Probably not. I still think it's a C, and I think it's actually better than Moana. At least they did some staging. You know what I mean? We get these like nice lights just peeking in through the trees. Like there's some good design elements here. But at the end of the day, it just looks so sanitized and lame. Trap. Okay, so we've already seen a Trap poster that's quite similar to this. This one's a lot cleaner. It has the same cool concept, which is a whole red and black poster, but we get this black and white element, which is the title. I think I still kind of preferred it being a close-up of his face over like a medium close-up. But at least this does tell us a little bit about the context, because we get these fans' hands. It's clearly like a music concert, and that is sort of the premise of the movie. I think it's not quite as interesting as when it was like the close-up and everything was sort of leaning to the left. I feel like this is a lot more generic in its spacing and everything's sort of centered. But at least I feel like the lettering is a lot cleaner. It's a lot neater in general. And we get this one really cool concept here, which is that it's basically a collage. We get these sort of white dots that make up the poster. I don't know how well that reads on the screen compared to in a physical printed poster. So I'd want to see that. It lands in the B because I think I like it just a bit less than the other one. The other one, yes, had the weird lettering spacing. I feel like this one, there's less to complain about, but it also ends up being a little bit more generic. I think I'm going to put it below Rebel Bridge, above Steven Soderbergh. That seems like a good place for it. Okay, Uglies. This is, I don't know, really ugly to me. I don't really know what the hell these white petals are. I don't know what that is. And it's just a bunch of characters posing in front of the camera. We get the city skyline. Does this tell us anything about the movie? Does it do anything that's interesting? I guess the font is kind of unique because it looks a bit sci-fi. You know what? I'm going to do? Okay, I'm going to put this in D, and I'm going to put these 2 in D as well. These are 3 really generic posters that I feel aren't that good. Maybe I'll put Snow White above Uglies there. All right, and the last one. So we've already done a Weekend in Taipei poster. Interestingly, this seems like a teaser poster, but it came out after the other poster, which actually had all the actors and stuff on it. This doesn't actually say the title of the movie, but maybe it's just banking on the fact that we've all seen the other poster, that we know what it is. It has a similar, color scheme to the previous poster, but we get these 3 bullets through the ticket being, thematically relevant. So I think all of that's really cool. I'm assuming it comes out during a long weekend, which then makes sense. It's Weekend in Taipei. Double meaning there. I like this poster. I don't think there's anything too out there, unique, or special about it, but I feel like it definitely deserves a B spot. I think I might put it below that Dìdi. And that is everything. Quite a long video today, but hopefully you enjoyed it. This was a really great week for posters. Please comment your favorite posters of today. Like and subscribe.